My 23 meters abusive family contacted me after years, because they wanted me to help them. Throwaway for privacy. Let me start this by saying that this entire situation was overwhelming for many different reasons. When I grew up, my parents and my sister were abusive towards me through my entire childhood. While my sister, who is 2 years older than me, was an intended child, I wasn't, and they exactly treated me this way while they spoiled her rotten. Going into details about my childhood is something I wanna avoid, but I guess it doesn't hurt me to give you an impression. My parents treated me more like a slave, as I had to do all of the chores when I came home from school, and I slept in the guest room on a dirty couch while my sister had a big room with a big bed. They even invented a 2-class meal system for me and my sister where I was only allowed to eat, let alone sit down at the table when they and her were done eating, meaning I ate their leftovers. They were also physically abusive towards me, as my mom and dad loved to physically abuse me whenever something from the chores wasn't done correctly. My sister was no better. I wasn't a sibling to her, more like a housemate. She loved bullying me at school and at home. She even told lies to the only friends I had so they wouldn't like me anymore. She told them I was talking bad behind their backs. Any explanation attempt failed, so for the most part I was alone during my childhood that was filled with tears and pain. When I turned 18, they kicked me out of the house. They probably didn't expect what came next. I completely cut any contact and built my life for myself. I found my first real job, and from that on my life only went forward. I never wanted to look ever again. My life got better and better as I then attended a much better paying job. Now I was able to afford an apartment. My life went well and I even became a high supervisor in the company I worked for. Remembering my parents' jobs, I probably make more each month than both of them combined. And since I lived alone in a quite modest apartment, my income far exceeded my financial expenses, meaning that I was able to save a lot of money. Before I explain what happened now, I need to mention that my sister had a condition from an early age on. As I'm not an immature, I won't go into any details about it. This is a matter that only concerns my sister and her doctor and maybe my parents. I respect that and don't interfere, but I still have to mention it for this story to make sense. Okay, fast forward to a few months ago. I received a call from an unknown number. I haven't talked to them for quite a while, so didn't recognize the voice at first, but it was my mother. When I realized, I just wanted to hang out, but I think she saw that coming and begged to not hang up and let her explain why she called. She slowly started to apologize and asked if we could meet. She said I don't have to talk to her. She just wants me to listen to what she has to say. I honestly still don't know how she found out my phone number. Whatever, I agreed since I had 2 weeks off from work, and honestly she's really good at persuading people. Besides that, I had a plan. Not gonna lie. Well, we agreed to meet at a local cafe the next week, and when the day came I was surprised to see my father there too. When they saw me, both of them smiled at me widely and hugged me tight. I pushed them away from me and told them I'm not comfortable with this, and they apologized immediately. This was strange. Really strange. They never behaved this way towards me and I felt something was off. I asked them to tell me why they want to talk to me. The next hour was them explaining how sorry they are and how deeply they regret treating me the way they did. It was so awkward. But then they finally got to the point. My mom explained that my sister still lived with them and that her condition got way worse. She needs a specific surgery that would help her, but her health care is so expensive for them that they cannot afford it while having to deal with the other expenses. And the longer they wait, her condition would get worse and it would get more expensive. What they basically told me was they were in a financial downward spiral. They told me that their insurance company refuses to cover the surgery, so they have to find another solution. They told me that they saw a photo of a company meeting at my company on Facebook that a coworker had shared, and I also was on the photo, so they figured that I was now successful. Honestly, I don't like that word. It sounds so snobby. They said that they know they have no right to ask me for this, but they asked if I could help them financially. I stayed quiet the whole time, and when they were done explaining, I asked them to meet my sister. Surprisingly, she was in a hospital, and that is also why she couldn't come too. She had a separate room, and when she saw me she also smiled with delight. You guys understand why I still think this was super awkward and weird, right? However, we talked a bit and I asked her and my parents why I should help them. I wanted to confront all of them at the same time. I just talked and released all suppressed emotions at once. I told every one of them how much they hurt me over the years and all the horrible things they did to me. I also knew that I had the power of their fate in my hands now. When I was done with everything, I just left the room without looking back, and you can't imagine how good I felt getting all of this off my chest. And then I decided to actually play the power move. I did something that probably none of them expected. Yes, I actually paid for her surgery, a surgery that could possibly make her condition completely harmless for a very long time. I could have decided right there and then to never look back and just let her rot there. But instead I decided to help them. I think that this was way more powerful. I also knew that this would probably make them feel way more guilty and regretful for what they did to me. I had seen Schindler's List a few weeks before all of that happened. I'm not lying here when I say that a famous quote from Oskar Schindler inspired me to do this. Power is when we have every justification to kill, and we don't. I asked a young doctor to go into their room now and tell them that the surgery would be paid. I then left the hospital and drove home. My sister texted me and said that she's so thankful that I did this for her, that she feels so horrible for treating me how she had treated me, blah blah blah. Where are we? In a drama series. The same SHTT also came from my parents. By the way, the surgery went well. I feel in peace with myself. I feel good. Till today they often text me and ask if we could meet. What an interesting turn of events. Relevant comments. Labor nurse Rhett. You were definitely the better person, but now block all 3 of them because they will harangue you for the rest of their lives for money. Not for love, just money. They treated you worse than the hired help for your entire childhood. I think I understand that paying for your sister's surgery makes you feel good about yourself, but leave these people behind now. Pretty G 216. Op, you did exactly what they hoped you'd do. You allowed them to mistreat you with no consequence. People that are capable of doing that to a child will have no problem going to that same child as an adult for help and to be taken care of, because that's one of the dynamics of trauma and abusive. They didn't learn anything because they know you, and they know deep down inside that little neglected boy is still in there looking for his family's love, and you actively demonstrated that. If you would have said no, that wouldn't have made you like them. It would have made it clear that they have no place in your life because they are not your family. They don't care about you and they don't feel guilty. They'll only stick around for as long and you let them think they can use you for a cash cow. As soon as you say no to them for anything, they'll start the cycle of abusive again. Watch and see. Outside of that, it's good that you're generous to those in need. Next time, save the generosity for those who didn't make the first 18 years of your life a living HL. Mamia, I like your way of thinking, Op. In the world of Reddit where everyone tries to outdo the other's wrongdoings, you seem to have made peace with your decision, which is something I respect a lot. Revenge isn't about how you make the other person feel, it's about finally finding closure to the unfairness you experienced. I hope you keep up the rationality you showed this time when making any steps concerning your family, and whether us Reddit people think that that's the right move or not isn't always viable advice. Edit. For those who don't understand the power move, if I would have just left my sister to rot in her hospital bed, I wouldn't be any better than them. Me paying proves I will always be the better person. I know who I am, and I know that helping her was the right thing to do, even if some of you might not agree. Because even after all the trauma and pain they inflicted on me, I still am a good person who was able to keep his humanity, unlike them. If this makes you think they won, then I don't know what to tell you. And guys, don't worry, I'm going to block them soon, as I'm not ready to reconcile anytime soon. I just want to see how hard they gonna try to get my attention again. Update. My original post was posted 17 days ago if I remember correctly. Half a month, and since then a few things happened. I know many of you thought they won, but no, they didn't. So a few days after I posted, my sister visited me and she formally apologized for everything she had done to me. She told me that she never realized how wrong the lies were that my parents had told her until I did what I did. She told me that my parents used to talk bad about me behind my back, which, to be honest, I expected for a long time. She said that she was a product of her environment, but she could understand if I don't believe a word. She said she wants to better our relationship if it's fine with me. She said that after saving her life she owes it to me and she hopes I can at least forgive her one day. I listened carefully to everything she said. And as a proof that she means it, she told me that my parents were planning to trick me into paying for the bills connected to the house. And indeed, after a while they wanted to talk to me. They told me a total bullshit made up story about how my dad lost his job and being the main breadwinner of the household he needs some help. I expected a lot from these people, but such audacity is something that even I didn't expect. And I agreed to do it. Wait for it. I even offered to help them with the costs of the car on the condition that they transfer ownership of both things to me, to which they agreed after a little bit of deliberation. You probably can guess what I am going to do now. The car is already mine, but there are still a few things left to do for the house, but if both things are mine, I'm going to sell them to get the money for the surgery back. What I'm also gonna do is letting my sister choose a side by offering her to stay with me. The fact that I technically saved her life will make these decisions even harder. If she decides to stay with them, they will all live on the streets. Well, not technically, they probably stay at a friend's house or something, but you know what I mean. My sister is currently the only one that I actually consider reconciling with. Her apology was so sincere. It felt good being the bigger person for a while, but I guess sometimes it doesn't hurt playing a familiar game. Especially if you're better at it. More comments. Daisy LNC. Good for you. While it was your choice, I found your last post frustrating because your awful family did not deserve that mercy. What you're doing now is a far better way to deal with abusive leeches looking to use you for your money than throw you away. Make sure you galvanize yourself towards the coming crocodile tears, emotional appeals, and sob stories. I really hope you are resolved to follow through on your plan, and this isn't just a way for you to cave and justify helping them out again.